Okay, so we do have the recording going. Welcome to those of you that are here now. We are going to be waiting for Adam to restart his Zoom. But in the meantime, I think that I can screen share. Let me see if I can figure out how to do that real quick. Yes, so okay. Got some more people coming on. Right. Okay. A couple more minutes. Thank you guys so much for your patience.
All right, sorry. Got disconnected. Zoom restarted, but I'm back.
Right. Busy day. Okay, so once again, notes there, make sure you mute yourself and use the chat box as often as possible. That chat box is something you can reference later. We do share links with everyone after the meeting is over. And all right, so welcome to our Missions Field Outreach Support meeting. As I mentioned earlier, this is our last meeting of the year, and we will be going over some of the things we've seen before that helped us to bridge network charities, bridge resources, and make a greater impact. And at this point, since everyone that is here hasn't had a chance to yet, we're going to take a couple of minutes, and each of us are going to take 30 seconds or less if you want to and share who we are and who we're affiliated with. This is the hardest part of today's meeting, just so you know. We'll get through it just fine. I'll start. My name is Cassandra, and I'm affiliated with Missions Field as well as Mount Hope Church, and I'm an art teacher. So what I'll do next is I'm going to pick someone from my guest list up here, and I will start with the looks like Chris Swope is here, who I've only got to work with from a distance behind the pole. So thanks for being here, Chris. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, glad to be Chris Swope. I'm the city clerk for the city of Lansing, so I oversee all elections and voting and city. So thanks for having me.
Awesome. And then you get to pick the next person.
Oh, all I see is the missions field screen. Oh, wait a minute.
Okay.
I'll pick Asher Reese.
All right.
Yeah, hi, I'm Asher Reese. I am a fund development associate here for the Child and Family Charities here in Lansing, Michigan. Oh, and next person, I guess, Erica.
Thanks, Asher. My name is Erica Munchback, and I am part of the Missions Field staff. If you guys need any help navigating our social database, I'm the one that you should reach out to, and I would be happy to help you with that. In addition to that, I'm a member at Lansing South Church of the Nazarene and also the founder of Jubilee. And I will pick Dara.
I knew that was coming. Okay, I'm prepared. Good morning, everybody. I'm so glad to be here. My name is Dara Mayho. I am a member of the Bread House main campus. My pastor is Pastor Alfred P. Singleton, and I am the director of our food distribution center, which is a little bit under construction right now, but that construction does not stop with us helping people right now. And then I also am founder and executive director of Covered by Love, and we are all about connecting people to resources which promote better living, with special emphasis on foster children and people re-entering society. Thank you.
Who's next? All right, Tim, I'm gonna go ahead and nominate you for our next guest, and then you can just pick someone when you're all done. We're almost there. Thanks, guys.
Okay, I'm Tim Palmer. I'm the senior pastor of Christ Community Church in downtown Lansing, just a couple buildings away from the Capitol. And I guess I'll pick Krista.
Krista Campbell, and this is my first meeting because Dr. Parker's not able to attend, but he said hello, and he sent me because he wanted someone to represent. He said Community Action Center, and I'm the social worker there.
Awesome.
And I picked Adam.
Well, thank you. My name is Adam, as she has stated, and I am the founder of Missions Field. Also, just grateful to see you guys' faces on this new, well, it's gloomy. Yesterday was sunny, gloomy day. I'm looking forward to what this day will bring. So thank you, Cassandra.
And Adam, I think there's one last person. Two left.
Jason. I'm gonna pick Jason.
Hi, everyone. I apologize. I am like in two different meetings at the same time, but I'm Jason Blanks. I'm the Executive Director for the Capital Area Health Alliance. It is my honor and pleasure to meet you all, and I just look forward to working with you. My wife banished me to the basement, so I'm like in the cave right now. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks, Jason. I think we have one more person. Dominique, did you want to take a turn? You are muted.
Good. I had to check the time. Good morning still-ish, everyone. My name is Dominique Devereaux. I wear a few different hats. I am here representing Communities and Schools of Michigan, where I am the Director of Partnerships and Volunteers. And so really coordinating with the community to find different organizations and people who can support within our schools. And then I am also the Program Director for Reach Studio Arts Center, looking to connect community with different arts programs and initiatives. I myself also am a founder of a performing arts nonprofit where I work with young ladies dancing ages 9 to 16. And so looking for any connections or people who enjoy the arts in general to connect. And so I'm happy to be here today just to get more information about the resources and people that you all are connected with through Missions Field.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Not that I have favorites, but you did just say all of my favorite words. So we're going to have to connect. So thank you guys for playing along. We'll get more time to each talk about what it is that we're doing and how we can help one another. On the next slide that you're going to see is our staff. Our staff are working all throughout the month to bring this meeting together and to be able to make those bridges that we are building in the network. And first we have our founder, Adam, who already introduced himself. I also am introducing myself again as the member coordinator. So that means if you wanted to learn how to invite someone or felt like there was someone this would be good for, please do let me know or invite them yourselves by joining our network. And we have Erica, who helps with all of the really hard stuff that is the database management. And we have Rochelle, who helps with our paperwork, which is also stuff I don't really like to do. So we are glad to have those folks. The next slide is just an overview of our website, and we are doing some changes. They're going to be subtle, but they're going to help us to understand how to navigate this space as we grow, and we hope to continue to do so. So we were missionsfield.org. You can still access our network with that address, but we are currently trying to promote missionsfriends.com, and there's information about membership access through Google. You can use Facebook, you can use LinkedIn, and you can use Apple. So lots of ways to join, and we hope that you consider doing so. And the next slide is reviewing our profile, which you'll see in just a moment. So that slide is discussing how you can create your profile. Alyssa is a really great example of how to utilize that to its maximum capacity. And so she has all of her links and information that she wants to share and what she hopes to gain from others, because this is a network we are building for you and for the other outreach leaders in the community. And then there is room for additional sections where you can put a couple more fun things like your favorite dessert or your description of your ministry. We also, please share posts. We want this to be a safe space for everyone who's a believer to be able to share a post about something they're learning, something that's happening in the community. We love seeing events there, and it is definitely helpful if you're able to do that yourself. We're not always able to post everyone's events for them, even though we give it our best shot. And so I would like to address the agenda with you. We are going to first evaluate what churches are doing. We want to equip those of you who are here and those of you who will be watching later. We'll also want to empower our leaders by showing them different ways that churches are impacting the community, and most of all, we want to help get missions filled. So we do also pray at the end. I hope you can stick around for that part. So I am going to hand it over to Erica, and she's going to talk about how we evaluate.
Yes, I'm Erica. We're going to talk about capturing the data of local needs and different churches that are serving them and the strengths to impact our communities. So if you're on our database, there's a spot where you can share outreach needs. And that's just a place where you can share either your church or other churches, any church really, like their different strengths and assets and needs that they might have to strengthen or improve their outreach programs. Take a look at the next slide. And we're going to give it back to Adam. I thought there was another slide. First, we're going to talk about what different outreach activities churches are doing to impact families this year. So again, you can share about a church that you know of or your church. If we want to take just a quick minute to share in the chat what some different churches are doing. And some examples are mentoring, food pantries, addressing homelessness, incarceration ministries, substance abuse ministries. So I'm just going to put in the chat real quick, Celebrate Recovery at Trinity Church. Because they do lots of good things to help people that are looking to make changes in their lives. Just some of the different things I saw listed earlier where the Bread House does food distribution. We're going to hear a lot about that in a little bit. So I think I will pass it on to Adam to talk about equipping.
All right. Let's see. Can you guys hear me? I see a head nod. Apologize for the technical difficulties, but I'm grateful for what's going to happen despite of it, because there's lots of people here to join to do hopefully impactful work for the families in the Greater Lansing area. So Missions Field, just to reinstate that Missions Field is a bridge between churches and community leaders to impact residents who are in need. And so with that, we are going to talk today actually about, or every month we have a different topic discussion. So this one is centered around the holidays and how churches and collaborators can work together to impact families during the holidays. And we also have a special guest church who will share how they do that, but in particular around the food insecurities in our city. And so before we start with that, I want to give a chance for people to also share any things that's related to like data regarding people who are in need around the holidays. And so one of those things I mentioned was food insecurity. So for example, if you have some data or stats that's relevant to families in need during the holiday, or if you have any information about distribution issues that are happening during the holiday, or anything that's relevant to the culture. And what this would do is help us build a better report when we send out the e-news this month to share how churches and nonprofits can step up to the plate. And so I'm gonna give you guys probably about 2 minutes just to post some things in the chat, or if you guys just want to pop in and share something, we'll take about 5 minutes to go around the table to do so. I do not see anybody posting anything, so I don't want to waste everyone's time. So if there is any other things that you guys have as far as data, please feel free to drop it in the chat when you are able to at this time. And so we're going to move forward and move into the next. Oh, I see one. See typical families. Dominique just posted something. Dominique, can you share more about that verbally if you don't mind?
Yeah, sure. Around this time with our student support coordinators in the schools, we can typically get anywhere from 10 to 20 families who are expressing some type of need for food for the holidays. And so what we try to do is collect as much information as possible about the existing distributions and try to share that with them as soon as we get the information. And so I don't have specific numbers, but in each one of our sites, that usually is something that is requested around this time. And so I think it would be helpful for us for sure if there are any flyers or websites we can direct our families to be able to coordinate that support.
Thank you, Dominique. I see also Erica, you shared some information. Can you please share more details about that?
Yes, I can. There's quite a few different programs that'll help families with gifts. However, for like Christmas and stuff. However, there's usually an age cutoff, and there's only like a couple that will help with gifts for older kids. So if in the midst of your work for the holidays through your church or your organization, if there's a way you can incorporate serving some of the older kids, that might be a good idea, and a need that's not being met elsewhere.
Thank you, Erica. All right. So thank you guys for that. Again, if you guys have more data points or areas of need, please feel free to drop that in the chat before we send our emails out for this October month. So we probably will send that within the week. So, if you can email myself or any of our team members, the best way to reach all of us is through info@missionsfield.org. And that way we'll be able to drop that into the e-news. Also, anything you guys share throughout this meeting, as far as the information, we'll be willing to share that as well. So just to reemphasize, Erica is our e-news editor and copy editor. So she is willing to capture the information and translate it for the e-news report. So moving forward, I do want to share a special guest that we have today. Her name is Dara Mayhoe. You heard her earlier. Just have a brief introduction, but as she stated, she's a member of the Bread House and helps run the food pantry for the Bread House. And additionally, she is a nonprofit leader and a business owner as well. And she'll talk more about those things, but the topic today is around food security, or its topic is around the holidays, and she's going to specifically talk about how she helps those families in need with food insecurity. All right, Dara, are you still here?
I am. Thank you, Adam. Good morning, everyone. And I'm so glad to be here. Yes, my name is Dara Mayho, and I am a Lansing native. I've been born and raised here in Lansing, moved a couple times, not too far, but I found my way back here in Lansing. And I'm so glad that I did, because Lansing was actually a place that I had declared that I would never return. And I'm so glad that the Lord brought me back to Lansing, because I am a firm believer of looking back at the adversities that God, only God, through the power of Jesus Christ, the blood of Jesus on my life, that brought me back to a city which I felt at times tried to take me out. But we know that is how unexplainable God is when we experience these type of just strongholds and trials and adversity. You know, when we have a way of looking at things or asking God to help us see things through his lenses, we understand that sometimes that adversity is just training ground for the work that we are called to do. And so I am so glad and so honored that God brought me to a place of employing people who, much like me, at times have been declared unemployable, or people that are hungry, or people that need second chances, and just remembering where I came from and doing the work that God called me to do. So I love the power of small. There's a lot of power in small. When I think of making an impact on the world, you know, sometimes we have this grand idea, but there's really a lot of small things that we can do to make our community, even starting with our families. You know, if we start with our families, then it has a way of trickling out into the community. But there are many small ways that we can make our communities better. And one way that I found is to try as best as I can to eradicate hunger. And so I am in a new role of leadership at the Bread House Food Distribution Center. I'm so excited about that, because when I came to that point, I realized that the pantry was not very accessible to different people with different abilities, and some other things that I just wanted to make it better for the people, our neighbors, as we call them. And so we are in transition of moving our food pantry, which is right in our church. We're located at 1518 South Washington Avenue, right in the Bread House. It's a big old edifice in Rio Town. And so I'm glad to know that we're not just some big church on the corner, but that we're actually making connections with people in the community who are hungry. And sometimes we don't really even know that it's a problem. Some people think it's really not even a problem with hunger in our community, just because we're not close enough to the people who are actually hungry. So because we go to work and we come home, even if it's a hot dog and some chips, we have a hot dog and some chips, but some people are actually going home to nothing. Some people are actually out on the street and need care packages full of foods that are ready to eat. So there is definitely a problem with food insecurity. But I'm so glad for my church that we are making connections in the community. We have our food distribution center, and then we do partner with different organizations, such as my family outreach, community outreach covered by Love, where we are in process. Well, currently we help to train and mentor different individuals, specifically marginalized individuals who need to, I'm sorry, I just kind of lost my train of thought. My husband just came in the office and
Hello, Brother Adam.
we're in a meeting.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, sorry
Good.
about that, you all. But yes, so getting back to the food distribution center, because I was kind of veering off on another tangent. But yes, we are excited about meeting the needs of people who are in need of food. When you're close enough to those people to know their situations. I had a lady come in the other day, and she was just so excited to see different types of food. And it's more than just meeting the need of the food. You get to hear what people are going through. The lady said that they they needed to come and get the food because rent is so high right now that they can't even go buy groceries. So they depend on the bread house to be able to be open Tuesdays and Thursdays to come get that food. And she said, well, I can't risk being homeless again because last year we were living in a tent. And then she went on, and I noticed that all of her teeth were missing. And then she said that she needed soft foods. And so that is the type of stuff that makes my heart soft when our secretary is ordering food. And I remember those who have mentioned having diabetes, or she mentioned having diverticulitis, I think it was. And then she didn't have teeth. And so it reminded me, you know, of just being intentional about ordering and how we order. But those food resources are our main objective right now. Our efforts don't necessarily help them get connected to our church as a whole, because we aren't the Bread House Food Distribution Center for the Bread House. We're the Bread House Food Distribution Center for Feeding America. So there are some guidelines that we have to go by. Although when I encounter those people that describe their various situations and stuff, does my heart want to just break down and say, let's have a prayer meeting right now, my brother or my sister. But because Feeding America is not a religious or spiritual or church oriented organization, we're not allowed to do that. But again, I have a personal relationship with Jesus, so I could do what I want with my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ in my personal time. So I do take those situations and go back and pray about them, but also be mindful of what can I do naturally, you know, to help this person know that even though I can't necessarily say, hey, come in on Sunday and pray with us at 11 a.m., but perhaps they'll become more curious about us because they've had an opportunity to come in that big old brick church and encounter people that are working in the pantry. And because they experience their love and their care, they get curious. I know I did. I get curious about what's going on with that person. I want some of that, you know, and then they come taste and see and experience Jesus for their own selves, not just for what they can get, but to see how sweet that relationship is. So either way you slice it, they are absolutely experiencing Jesus when they come to the Bread House Food Distribution Center. Adam did mention that I am a businesswoman in Lansing. I am wearing a lot of hats right now. I'm co-owner of Wise Man Tree Experts, which has been around for 23 years this year with my husband, who founded it back in 2000. And we do have a focus on caring for God's earth and helping people to sustain positions that could absolutely take care of their families for generations to come. And so whether I am doing business at our tree care company or at my boutique, where I have now transitioned more into fashions that empower the job seeker, and specifically job seekers that have barriers to success, i.e., I just got out of lockup, or I'm too young, or they say I'm too old, or I don't know what to wear or what to say. We do all that to really help build people up, because it's more than about food. We know that we could box up some food, we can give them some food all we want, but if we don't make this a full circle thing, when we're in there paying attention to their needs, or even in our professional lives, some of us could be a little more lenient when it comes to people who need second chances. I am an employer of 10 individuals. I lead maybe 20 or so individuals on our volunteer staff. But I was also a person 20 years ago that they said wouldn't be successful because I had too many barriers. And I'm not going to get to naming them because you wouldn't believe it. I just thank God that I don't look like what I've been through. And so it's my job, again, to go back and remember where I came from. When I was hungry, going down on the Salvation Army on South Pennsylvania, I'll never forget, smelled like mildew and mothballs every time we went to get that box of food. But you know what? We went back and we got that box of food. I remember fruit cocktail was my jam. And I would get home and I would pick out all the pineapple. I didn't like the little maraschino cherries in there. So I picked those out and I eat all the pineapple out of the can. And food, a warm belly, that brings comfort. Many times relationships are built around the table. Many times when we have the opportunity to even make a meal in our homes, that creates a sense of self-sufficiency, so as an employer, I'm not just trying to grow my business, I'm trying to grow people who are growing our businesses, because if they don't believe in themselves, how would they ever make an impact in my businesses? They're going to make us look bad and go down. But it's beyond our businesses, because there's been people that have come and been trained by us and been exposed to the tree care industry that started their own tree care companies. That's what I want to see. I want to be able to meet again people who came in the pantry, just like I was that lady at the Salvation Army on South Pennsylvania. I want them to come back and say, you know what? I remember coming to get that food and I was inspired in such a way that now I can identify where God delivered me from. And now I'm at the East Side Community Center, boxing up food and helping out and volunteering. You might not be the director or anything, that people tend to quote unquote see as significant, but there is so much power in small, whether you're the volunteer or the director. I kind of like playing both sides because I am very much so a following leader. But there are some scriptures that are associated with what we do, whether it's business or whether it is community, whether it's for profit or not for profit. 1 Corinthians 16 and 14, and I have it on my wall in my home office. And that's let all that you do be done in love. We can give and give and give until we're blue in the face. But if we don't do it unto the glory of God, if we don't do it with real love in our hearts and not to look a certain way or to seem like such a hero, we'll make a great impact by abiding by those scriptures. Let everything that we do be done in love. James 2 and 14 through 17 says, feed your brother, clothe your sister. If we don't have works with our faith, then that faith is dead. So how dare me or anyone that has experienced God's goodness, and he is so good, to not go back and bless our families and bless our communities and open doors for people who feel forgotten or for people who feel like those resources aren't there. So as I mentioned, we're in transition of moving our pantry to a more accessible area of our church. But I would love to sit here and say, oh, it's going so good and we're so successful right now. We have all the resources that we need, but we don't. But the best part about that is I'm hopeful. No one can tell me that God is not going to give us everything that we need for our pantry. And when I say we're struggling, we're struggling. We're in a struggle bus. Our shelves are a little low because, of course, things have changed with Feeding America. They're not really giving the food like they were during the pandemic. Now we're back to paying for things. And when there's not a budget for it, you're really just getting what has been donated, or thank God, having businesses that could substantiate some of those orders sometimes, but that gets played out. And so we are finding a way to have access to more reliable funding to be able to provide for these families. No one can tell me that we haven't come this far to go all of the way. And so this is where you all can help. So I gave you the backstory. Now I'm going to give you the part where you all can help us, because we want to help as many excuse me, people in our community that are in need. Thanksgiving is coming up. We're looking to donate boxes of food to as many families as we can. So we're looking for turkey donations. We are looking for the fixings. I don't have my list. Our church administrator has that list, but pretty much whatever you can think of for a Thanksgiving dinner is what we're looking for. We usually would have what was called a day of thanks, and we would invite the community in. But by surveying many of the people that have come in that we serve, we found out that they want to make dinner at home. They don't want to come to a big old soup kitchen. I mean, bless them. I don't look at it as a way of being ungrateful or whatever. It's an opportunity to fellowship with their family, have a sense of self-sufficiency, because we want to remember too that we want to treat them with dignity. So if they have an opportunity to cook meals at home, which in my opinion is a little easier to provide a box of things that they would like to cook at home as opposed to cooking this big mass dinner. So it seemed to work for us. So if you are looking for an organization that you would like to help in the area of resolving food insecurity, the Bread House Food Distribution Center is always looking for food, help with food resources, even monetary help. A lot of times it's easier for us to receive monetary help because we can just go right on our Feeding America platform, punch in the things that we need, and be able to just charge it on our account. But we are really, really lacking meat. We're lacking everything. But again, if you all are in a position to help, we are right in Rio Town. It's 1518 South Washington. Our number is 517-485-4209. I'll put it in the chat when I'm done. But we're starting out kind of from scratch, and I am enjoying the process, learning to be a good community outreach leader. I'm fueled by passion and experience of being hungry and in those situations more than I am of being an experienced leader in the community outreach field. So I am learning as I go, but I'm willing to do that in order to have what we need to meet the needs of the people. So I hope I have shared enough with you all to know who I am and who I'm affiliated with. I do want to just share with you just quickly, because this may even be a resource that you could use or help us as well. But again, I have a business called Love Covers. It's a boutique and image consulting firm. And what we do is connect with programs that have participants who need, again, to be connected to resources which promote better living. And instead of giving the box of food or giving the clothing, we want to get to the core of it, So we are interview coaches, and we have a relationship with schools here in Lansing and even outside of Lansing. But ultimately, we go out and we give the cheat code as to what employers are looking for. And even home goods. Home goods is something that we do for children aging out of foster care. And so we're in a process of trying to establish a closet, a home goods closet, where children transitioning from being a foster child to now being independent. Another experience I am a former foster child, and I didn't age out of foster care, but I was in foster care for a while. But I did spend a lot of time as a homeless youth, a lot of time as a homeless young person. And as I did with my children who have moved from my home, my oldest son, he wiped us out clean because we wanted to make sure that he had what he needed. my youngest son who just recently moved out. We put together this big placard and asked for a lot of different home goods from our family members who could pitch in and almost give him an apartment shower. Well, guess what? Those foster kids, they don't have Aunt Reese. They don't have mom. They don't have, whoever it is that's going to step up and advocate for them and say, I want to help you to be able to transition well. If you have an air mattress or pots and pans or, whatever it is that you need, then you can focus on getting up, going to school or getting up, going to work and not trying to figure out how you're going to pay the rent, how you're going to get your essentials, how you're going to have gas in your car. So if that's the little wedge of resources that we can nip out for people trying to figure it out after coming out of foster care, we absolutely want to help do that. So I know that was a lot. I don't want to be on information overboard or overload, but if you would like to follow up with me about how we can partner with your programs, about how you all may be able to help us or how we may be able to help you, because Covered by Love is all about partnerships and going out and helping other people who line up with our core values, because we don't have to recreate the wheel. Everybody is pretty much doing the same thing. But if we would all come together and support each other's efforts, then I think some of our programs would be more impactful. So I would be the first to say that that's what we're here for, is to support your programs, and hope that you all would support us. So that is all I have, and I really appreciate your attention this morning, and I am certainly open to your feedback or any questions that you may have for me.
Thank you, Dara, for all that information. Due to the lack of our time of our meeting, I want to again thank you, and please do follow up with Dara personally for more information. One of the other partners is the Greater Lansing Food Bank. I do want to say they are available. They were hoping to join us this morning, but they weren't able to, unfortunately. But we're going to talk about more other resources. So I'm going to go around the room for any organizational partners or churches that have resources to help people or help churches help people. So Dara, she mentioned a lot of great resources. I know we have the city clerk from of Lansing, and I don't know if you're listening at this moment, but if you can, please share what you have.
Sure. Yeah, I am here. So as the city clerk, we are responsible for voter registration, as I mentioned earlier, and encouraging folks to vote. So glad to be partners with a couple of you. Bread House is one of our polling places, so glad for that partnership. And as well as several other churches in the community to host us on election day. One of the things that I do want to mention is today the Senate is taking up some bills that I'm going to be testifying on, and one of those involves what's called automatic voter registration. We currently have that when you go and get your driver's license, and part of this would expand that opportunity to people that are reentering society from prison. A common misconception because of confusion with other states is that you have to go through a process or something to get your voting rights back. In Michigan, if you are on parole, probation, or released, you are eligible to register and to vote. So we are hopeful that that bill will get adopted this year. I think they have a late future effective date for it, but anything that you folks can do to help spread the word that any returning citizens are eligible to register and vote. They don't have a waiting period or anything here in Michigan. It would also, part of this package would allow for automatic voter registration once details and an agreement is worked out for some of our governmental entities that provide services for people with disabilities or services for low-income folks. So we're looking forward to that. You know, there are large pools of people that are not registered, even though we have a very high registration rate in Michigan, and the people that tend to not be registered are those that are generally financially disadvantaged, who, the government can play a big role in their life, both in a positive and a negative way. So, we want to make sure that folks have and express their voice in our government leadership. We will be, just to let you know of an event we're having this Saturday. We'll be piloting our first early voting here in the state of Michigan. We'll have our first true early voting. And for us, we'll be starting out this Saturday at 2500 South Washington. So not far down the street from the Bread House. And we will be including with that Souls to the Polls and a Halloween trunk or treat. So folks can bring their kids in costumes, and we'll have some community groups that'll be out giving out candy. We also have a mock ballot that kids can do to pick their favorite Halloween character or favorite Halloween candy. And then adults who are registered can actually vote for real. So we'll have a lot of activity here Saturday, and I believe the hours are 1 to 4 for that here at 2500 South Washington this Saturday. And then just to share some other quick news, after this election, we are leaving this building. It's being torn down for the future public safety complex for the city. So we'll be moving to Rio School for future events. So watch for news on that. We'll be co-located with Lansing Promise that provides educational opportunities for so many of our students. So we'll be glad to have that partnership. And I guess that's all I have today. Thanks.
Thank you, Chris. That was helpful. Because that is my polling place too. So
Okay. Well, you'll be getting a new one.
yeah, unfortunately, but because it's like right down the street. But
Yeah.
and I'm on the Lansing Promise Foundation's
Oh,
board. So,
great. Okay.
all right. I saw Krista Campbell posted some information in the chat. Would you like to share any more resources to help churches help people?
Those were the resources that Dr. Parker asked me to share. I know that I believe it's November 11th, they're going to be doing their normal coat drive where they give away free coats. I do believe at Thanksgiving, they are going to be giving away Thanksgiving baskets, but there's not many that they will be giving away this year. So that was all. I just asked what he wanted me to share, and that was the list that he gave me.
Cool. Thank you for that. All right. Tim, do you have anything? Pastor Tim.
Not really. We have a comedian coming in November 11th that my wife wanted to make sure that I mentioned that we're really excited about. She's coming in from Chicago, and she's a bona fide Christian comedian that her act, show, message, whatever you want to call it, is an hour and a half long with an intermission, and she really gets into a message. So it's a whole lot of funny that ends up with a lot of Jesus, unlike a lot of comedians that are even Christian. So that's definitely something that we want to put out there. And so if anybody has anyone in their churches that are interested, it's at a unique time. We usually do these things in the evenings, but this one is at 3 o'clock on November 11th because it's a great thing for ladies to just kind of pick up their friends who maybe not want to be out at night and go have some laughs and have some fun, and then still have their evenings to meet up with and do whatever they want to do.
And men, maybe? I was assuming that men can also be there because you just said ladies. So I was hoping you would affirm.
Yeah, men could be there too. We originally kind of planned it as another ladies event, but we've since decided that all are included.
Got you. Thank you for that clarification.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
See if I can make that then.
Yeah, please do.
All right, next, is it Asher Reese?
Yeah, hi. So first, I just want to say to Ms. Mayo, I loved everything that you said about hunger and kind of how sometimes we know about hunger, like world hunger, but we don't sometimes realize how prevalent it is in our community. I grew up kind of in a upper middle class type of small town where, you know, things like hunger and homelessness is just not really something you ever think about. But when I was in college, I went to a food bank and I learned a lot about how sometimes these things can kind of hit home even in areas that you don't really ever think about. But just want to say thank you for information you provided. But in terms of child and family charities, which I'm a fund development associate at, we have a few things that we're doing. It's, believe it or not, almost November. So we've been very busy regarding holiday stuff. We're just wrapping up. One thing that we were doing, it was the first time we were doing this. It's called Gear Up for Winter. It was, we worked with businesses and whoever kind of wanted to have like a winter gear drive in a way. Kind of like how some businesses have like boxes where you can donate food, but they had boxes where they could drop off. It could be new or used winter jackets, snow pants, gloves, scarves, kind of whatever. And we're trying to do it kind of around September, October timeframe. That way we don't wait till December when kids are already cold, kind of thing. So, but we're wrapping that up. That was a nice success. But in terms of kind of looking into the future, particularly December, we got two really big programs that we do annually. One is called Operation Good Cheer. So that's basically working with all kinds of agencies from DHSs, foster cares, throughout the state of Michigan. And then we this is like a whole year long process. So we started this back in like March or something like that. But basically they say like, hey, we have this many kids we want to enroll into Operation Good Cheer program. And then we kind of get the numbers, and then we also ask them, or maybe the kids, to fill out like a wish list. They write a little bit about their profiles. They keep it anonymous. We just ask for their first name and a couple of other small details, but they write like a personality section and then 6 wish list ideas. And just so I can show you, the ages range from newborns up until young adults, sometimes like in maybe early 20s normally, people, first timers, moving out, something like that. But anyway, it's they ask for anything from, you know, toys, clothes, sporting equipment, anything that's we do have certain restrictions, you know, nothing too pricey because or you know, things that might be difficult to transport. But anyway, that's what we do. We ask for wish lists from them. They send to us, we review them, and then we work with a whole bunch of donors that we have that have been part of this program for decades. It's been going on for over 50 years. And then donors go out and buy gifts after we send them the wish list. They drop them off at certain locations. And then December, it's a 2-day event. We organize the gifts. We load them on trucks, sometimes planes, depending on where they're going. Get them all out, tell the agencies they're on their way. And then we ensure that kids get at least 3 of the gifts that they ask for. Again, there's 6, so if donor wants to go out and do more, especially if it's like a small child where gifts are, you know, $5, they can obviously get more. But just to give you more context of kind of like the sheer mass of kind of work that goes into it, right now I think we got, I haven't checked our final numbers lately, but throughout the state of Michigan with all the agencies we work with, we got, I think, a little under 6,500 kids entered. So if you imagine that's 3 gifts per kid, that's going to be a lot of transporting around that we're going to have to organize. But it's a great program because, you know, some of these kids, you know, they maybe never even had holiday presents. So the fact that they're going to get even something like a shirt is a big deal to them, you know. And also another thing too that kind of makes this one special, which I appreciate too, is after the program in January, agencies work with the kids that did get gifts, and then the kids will also again, keeping everything anonymous, handwrite Christmas cards, or I should say thank you cards to the donors that we can send that out to them, just as an added kind of relationship feel. Again, there's no actual meeting. They don't know where they're from just because we do want to keep anonymous, but we want to have a little bit of that connection there too, as opposed to just dropping off gifts saying happy holidays kind of thing. That's one of the main ones. And then another one around the same time in December, it's similar Operation Good Cheer that I mentioned, but it's more local based. So it's Lansing. Here at Child Family Charities, we have a lot of different programs, one of them being Family Growth Center, which helps just people facing homelessness, certain crises, families, things like that. But Hope for the Holidays is something where it's similar. We have families, again, maybe just low income, maybe single parents, sick, whatever, but they want to obviously provide gifts for the children, as any parent I imagine would want to for the holidays. So they come to us. Again, they set up like a wish list, and this is also something parents can also partake in. They ask for 3 things: could be gift cards, could be shirts, could be toys, whatever. And then we work with, again, donors, more again in the local Lansing area. We coordinate it. They go shopping. They'll drop off the gifts, and then in December we can hand those gifts off to the families. So that way, again, these kids can still have something for the holidays, even if it is something simple, it's a gift card, whatever, it's something that they can kind of feel happy about. Otherwise, they may not get anything. And especially at a young age, we know that can be, have long lasting effects on them. So those are the 2 main programs we're doing right now. And they're awesome programs, a lot of work, but it's one of those things that, you just remember it's all worth it in the end because you're helping out a lot of people, both locally and in the state. And if you want, if you want to be a donor too, if you want to do shopping, particularly prior to the Lansing one, we are always looking for more donors. Where we can send out wish lists. You can give us like an idea too, age range, how many kids or whatever you want to shop for. That's something that if you want to participate in, you can always just send me an email, and then I can kind of get you in contact with some of the program managers for it too.
Thank you, Asher. Sorry again for my technical difficulties. I had to restart. I see Dominique had to step out, but she posted her email for community and schools in the chat. Is there anyone else who would like to share any resources to help churches help people? All right, since no one is speaking up, I'm going to move forward. If I had the screen share capabilities on my phone to share the slide, I would share this beautiful slide of our app that we actually have our social network, and to be more specific, but in that we had a conference we were hosting this weekend at Mount Hope Church for evangelism and outreach. And at that conference, we created this tool for churches to help them help people find a church. And really what it was is it's a guide that helps you review scripture and review quick tips on how to find the best church for you. And then additional resources on that included websites such as churchfinder.com and other search terms to look up for helping you find the best church to work with or be a part of. So what we did also is in our homepage on missionsfield.com or .org, we also included some of those databases. So that way, again, if you're an organization looking to contact or connect with churches, you can use that resource as well. So these are just some resources we just kind of created for, again, helping people find church homes or additionally helping people find churches to work with. And so, and that second resource is really valuable. In my former job role as a church leader or church network leader, a lot of people reached out to the network for getting the best contact for working with churches around different, projects or programs. And so that resource is now available on, again, our missionsfield.org or missionsfriends.com, whichever one you want to use. It will get you to the same place. With that being said, additionally, we have a dinner coming up on November 3rd at Lansing City Hall, where we are also honoring churches for their impact in the community regarding to community service. So if you register, you can register by typing actually missionsfriends.com. Will get you actually to that's a new update. That will get you to the event as well. Or if you go to our missionsfield.org, you can click on the flyer to get to the information for the Eventbrite. But that will allow you to register it's a $20 cost if you want to just get a dinner and be an attendee, or if you want to share a church story of how a church has impacted the community, that gets you a free ticket as well. And so it's two options: pay 20 or share a story. And then at the event, we'll be hearing from Senator Anthony, as well as State Rep Emily and Mayor Shore, about just the value of churches serving the community around the needs of the vulnerable residents and families in the Lansing area. And so, or mid-Michigan area, to be more specific. And so that's something we're looking forward to. That's happening next Friday at Lansing City Hall from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. That will be emailed out as well. It's also available on our website if you would like to RSVP or know more information. Other than that, that's all the resources that we have. Other than, I know Jason from Capital Area Health Alliance was on the call, had to leave, but with them, they're part of the Health Equity Council, which I also sit on. But we're in the process of finalizing the grants awardees for this 2023-2024 term. And so we're looking forward to releasing that information within the next couple of weeks of what organizations that we'll be partnering with to impact families around health equity. So now I'm going to hand it over to, I think it is Erica coming up next to share more about ways that we can work together. And so, Erica, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, thank you, Erica.
So, are we going to do a breakout without the agenda?
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to do the breakout from my phone, so we'll probably just skip that.
Okay, we'll just talk about it briefly here. It'll be fun. So, yeah, without the PowerPoint, we're just going to go off the cuff a little bit and talk about stories and how sharing stories impacts the community. And I guess at this point, we'll just take a couple minutes for us to think about how we can either use the information that Dara shared or that anyone else has shared as we move forward, what we're going to do with that information, or if anyone has any stories of outreach that they would like to share, this would be a great time to do that. We usually do that kind of like one-on-one in a breakout session, but we're going to do it all together right now real quick. So is there any volunteers that would like to share something real quick? Cassandra, yay.
Okay, so Dara mentioned doing small things, and that really speaks to me, and seeing the way that my husband does small things every day, like when he takes the dog for a walk, if he sees somebody at the park, he makes sure to stop and talk to them. And every time he does, it's either he makes a connection with them or they're like, get away from me, don't pray for me. Like they get real weird about it. But this particular instance that I'm thinking of was about 2, maybe 3 months ago. There was someone that we were trying to disciple to, and he was just really struggling with addiction, and Christopher did not let up. And finally, this person agreed. We happened to be driving separate vehicles one day, and so there was room. It wasn't our pickup truck, which is an S10, doesn't really fit a lot of people. So he had our car, and he goes to the park, and he sees this person up there early in the morning, getting ready to crack open a drink, which is what put him at the park in the first place. He's like sleeping there. So he got in the vehicle with Christopher, came to church with us. Didn't really seem like he got a lot out of it, but he kept coming back, and we kept being really persistent. and making those small connections that seemed insignificant at the time. But I just want to allow you all to open your mind to the possibility that those little interactions can actually impact the lives of more than one person, because now this same individual has led other people from the Rise House to church on Saturday, even if it's just to get a warm meal, because they do not feed the risers there. They are in the recovery program to establish their own independence, but that's hard to do when you're like hungry, right? So they come now to a program that was developed out of a need that only happened because that one person at the park, and then they saw that person going to church, and then people started following him to church, this person that was just sleeping in the park. It's like, it's just so crazy to me how those little things add up to changing the lives of all these different people now that we're able to administer to and provide food to, and hopefully help with some Christmas blessings and see where that goes, and to see their recovery sort of snowball into this transformational experience that maybe they would have had without the church, but also having that fellowship and the opportunity to outreach with people who have come from the place that they're at, to be able to have a new life. So I just wanted to share that and to say thank you to Dara for speaking into those small things, because yeah, we do have lofty ideas about how we're going to change the world, but just being consistent and persistent and prayerful has been a big change for us. So
Thanks, Cassandra. That was amazing. Is there anyone else that would like to share an outreach testimony or something you're inspired to do with the information that you've been provided today? Okay, well, I will just like to share briefly. I do this thing called Bible Study Fellowship, which is kind of an intense Bible study. And when we have discussion questions and then a lecture, and I was just at that this morning. So it's fresh on my mind where they were talking about the woman at the well, and two things that she did is go and impact her community by sharing her testimony. So thank you, Cassandra, for sharing your testimony. She was transformed and people could tell, and that was one way that God reached them. So I just want to encourage you all. In our database, we have a place where you can share testimonies, and I hope that you will get in there. And even if it's just like a couple, there it is right there, outreach stories and reports, you can share your testimony. And it's just a great place to share things where other people will come back and look at it later and hopefully be inspired to impact their community. So even if it's just a couple sentences or a paragraph, you could create a whole article there. You can share a video. If you need any help doing that, I'm definitely available. And I think that what's next is that Cassandra's going to pray for us or with us. So I'll give it back to Cassandra.
thank you, Erica. Yes, this is my favorite part. I do want to allow, if you guys are interested, you can select in the chat box to, and it could be to myself if you don't want to share it publicly, or you can message me on our network. You can also post to everyone if you have any prayer requests, whether it's for all of Lansing or what's happening in Israel or anything that speaks to right now. We do go over these meetings later and take the time to pray for people. We also had some prayer requests at the City Quake event that we just hosted at Mount Hope Church. But in respect of time, I don't want to go over all of them except to say that there are people praying for the city and for the state, because there were people from all over the state. I wish we had our map. I would show to you like how many different places people came from. But I'm grateful for the opportunity to pray, and where two or more, or in this case 9, are gathered, God is there with us. And it's important that we pray for the people in the world earnestly and pray continuously. It is about a conversation with God and a relationship in our walk with Him. So thank you, dear Heavenly Father, that we're able to gather together for these small moments and to experience monumental transformations, both individually and with our coworkers and co-laborers in the field. God, we know that you are moving in Lansing, even while we see the struggle of homelessness and poverty continue to grapple with the residents here. God, we know that you are working, and the people that you have brought to our platform are able to do great things in your name, and we are looking for more members to be able to grow this thing that you're building, and we thank you for the vision that Adam had for this program, and we just are honored to be able to have experienced it this whole year and all the different meetings that we've had. God, we know that you are with us through them, and we thank you for the people that are also not of the faith, but that they still have a huge heart for giving. God, you see into their heart, and you know that their intentions are to serve the community because they want to see it become a better place, and because they can see the needs, because they've had those lived experiences. God, you have been with us each for all of our own individual journeys, and I ask that you would continue to guide the footsteps of everyone that we encounter, so that we can all learn to become not just better leaders but better servers, God, and that you would equip us to be able to reach the capacity that you have planned for each one of us, and that you would do it while providing us peace, while providing us love and joy. God, that you are wrapping your arms around us in every encounter that we have, that we will be able to shine your light into the world as we go. We thank you for all that you're going to do in Lansing and for the continued work of everyone here. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So thank you all so much for being here. If you want to take one last moment and make sure all your information is on there to be shared with one another, or you can join our website. We would love to have you on our network and to see your profiles flourishing with all of your events, and to be able to stay in touch with all the grants and connections we have. Thanks so much. We'll see you next year, or at the dinner next Friday that you're going to come to. Bye.